Well, welcome to Love Yourself Loudly. I am your host, Perry, and today it's a new year. I am so happy and so blessed. And I have a wonderful guest, and I'm so happy to have her here. It's just so weird how we acquainted to each other, how we speak, and how we got this moment. Like, it was so instantly, and it was just so weird. We had a lot of things in common, and today is the day we're going to speak about different things, about her career, her life, her journey, what we're trying to do. And I know she's going to throw some questions back at me, but I'm ready. Her name is Ms. Candeenoo, and I just wanted for you guys to give a round of applause to my girl. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm blessed. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's 2025.
I know. I feel great about this year.
Listen,
it's going to be phenomenal.
Listen.
I'm so excited.
It is. And I'm not complaining. I am definitely not complaining. But let's dive right into this.
Let's do it.
So I look into your Instagram page and I see you did a lot of things. And I was kind of concerned about certain things. So I sat down and started trying to figure out some questions to ask you.
Concerned is an interesting word. Okay.
Listen, and I'm just, because there's a lot of things that I see you do, and I'm just like, is this like a career path, or this is like one of your little hobbies, or, like, what do you do?
Okay.
So my first question for your career path, right? Mm-hmm. I see that you do growth coaching, speaking, stuff like that. What inspired you to become a personal development speaker and a growth coach?
Long story long. So I started my personal development journey in 2019. I was in the military, but I knew that I was transitioning out. I had been in the Air Force for 6 years. I got out in 2021, but at that time I knew that I wanted more. Like, I love being in uniform. I love what it taught me, but
Sorry, I salute you.
I appreciate your support. I just knew, and even the people around me that I was working with, I was a medic in the Air Force, and in the hospitals, I would have PAs, I would have nurse practitioners tell me, like, my name is Candace Chung, and they'd be like, Chung, like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like you, not to say that I'm bigger than the Air Force, right? Okay. Or the military, like, we need that protocol, incorporation, and protection. But for me as an individual, I'm just a really free-spirited person, so it felt somewhat like a cage, and I think a lot of people saw that before I was even able to see that for myself. So when I did transition out, I ended up getting medically retired out of the Air Force due to my whole history of everyone that gets out of the military deals with a certain spectrum of trauma.
I have a lot of friends that
so yes, my mind caught up to me well enough that I missed a lot of days of work, about 186 days of work in 2020. So due to that, I was afforded to be able to get out of the military, but essentially retired.
Okay, retired. Did you see that in black and white?
Like I have a card that says retired.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that's mean that they can't call you back.
No.
Oh, okay.
They don't want me back. They basically said you can go, because due to your conditions, we don't want to have to nurse you back to health. Essentially, I'm healthy. I'm well. Between me and God, we did it on our own. But at that time, I was not well. So I had also been going through a divorce. And that's what really forwarded me into personal development. Like, I just dove into work. Like, I was like, where can I put this energy? And I ended up joining an MLM called Herbalife. I don't know if you
did that Herbalife
I
thing?
did do Herbalife. I was one of those people. But that's when the journey began. That's when the journey began, because I had never heard words like affirmation, meditation, all the things that are kind of redundant now that can be kind of like annoying for us to hear. Like, I had never heard personal development. I didn't know what that was till I was going to those meetings with those people. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? And of course, people were making money however they were making money, and they were doing what they do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I know that I want to be a business owner. At the time, mind you, I'm in the Air Force still, but I knew I wanted to be a business owner, so I thought I wanted to do lashes. So I started a lash business. It was before all the girlies were doing lashes. I'm not going to lie. I was one of the first, for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was good at it. But I just could not be hunched over, like, in people's scalp. And it just wasn't for me. Like, I'm not that girl. I'm an active. I like to be up. I like to be speaking, So 2019, all of this was happening. 2021, I got out. And as I was transitioning out and essentially finding a new identity outside of my uniform, I was like, why don't I get into personal training? Everyone always told me like, yo, you're athletic, you're so good at like sports,
And
like
you're fit,
like, and I led a lot of athletic things in the military, like for our workouts. And so I was essentially a trainer in the military. So I transitioned out, and that was my first time like diving into entrepreneurship, which is 100% a 180 from coming from this huge corporation into now being on my own. Yeah. So again, didn't really understand the full scope of personal development at the time, but I knew I had now had a gauge through the MLM of how to take care of myself, the videos, the Jim Rons, the ET, the hip hop preacher, like these people that I needed to listen to pour into me. So that's what I was doing at the time. And that's really how it started. Did I answer your question accurate enough?
You surely did.
Okay.
Hold on. So you did personal training at the Air Force and you was working in the medical field?
Yes. So I worked in the hospital. I had 2 careers essentially in one in my 6 years in the Air Force. So my main job was a medic. I worked in the hospital when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in DC.
He was in DC.
And then for a year, I also did the white glove service, like the funerals for fallen soldiers.
You did that too?
I did do that too.
Wow.
So yeah.
You were very. Were you the captain or the sergeant or anything?
I was a sergeant. Like I got to E5.
Oh, you went to E5.
I was Sergeant Chung, yeah.
Oh wow.
So.
Oh, you had a lot in your belt. Oh my goodness.
But 5 years and 6 months, it definitely. It helped me grow like that. My own personal development was initiated in that time, and it helped me take off into how I wanted to inspire others to also facilitate their own personal development journey.
It's so funny because that was the next question I was going to ask you. It was like, what challenge do you often see people face in their personal development journey, and how do you guide them through these challenges?
I feel like a lot of people do not have clarity on where they want to go.
True.
So in turn, they don't have the confidence to know what they need to do to get there, and therefore are not committed to anything and don't know how to make decisions.
Doesn't that sometimes annoys you when you're trying to, it's not like you're trying to force them to see the path that you have for them, but it's like you just want them to open their eyes.
But I was that person. Like I didn't have clarity because I was in an organization when my prefrontal cortex was being formed and I was being told what to do. So I didn't know how to have clear vision. I was told my vision. So I started just in a blur, in a space of chaos. I felt committed to something, but it didn't feel like my own. I was doing things, but I didn't know why I was doing them. I knew that they added up to a greater purpose, but at the time, me sitting in my cubicle, I was like, why does this matter? Like, what am I doing? And therefore did not have the confidence to see myself outside of that uniform or that identity that I had created around that uniform, because I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have vision. So I have patience for it because I was that person, and I want to be who I needed 6-7 years ago.
Gotcha. So by you creating, it's so weird how you said that, because when you're talking like that, you kind of have me thinking about myself. You're right. Sometimes when people do see things for you, we don't kind of visualize the stuff that other people see, and we just so blindsided, and we thinking like, oh, you just want me to do this or you just want me to do that, because we don't really sit down and meditate to understand what's the purpose, why we're here. Because I always tell people, listen, we all have a purpose, we all have a journey. The question is, how can we maintain to grow that purpose in the journey that we have within ourselves? Because sometimes people thinking that, oh yeah, I'm just here to work 9 to 5, get my paycheck, live my life, take care of my family, and this and that. And then sometimes you have some activities.
I think that's selfish.
What, the working a 9 to 5 and?
No, just people thinking that it's only about them. It's not only about you. Like everything that I have been through, whether I felt like I deserved it or not, is for me to help somebody else that's going through it. There is nothing on God's green earth that I will experience or that you will experience that we are the only one, we are the last one, or we're the first one. So I think it's crazy that people think that it's like, oh, I'm going through this thing and like I need to only make money or make wealth for my family. It's not just about you. It's not just about you. Maybe it's about somebody else seeing that you look like them. They look like you, and they need to see somebody that did it. So sorry, I just needed to.
But that's the thing. If most people could listen to my podcast, I have some certain people talk like that. What you're saying with the 9 to 5, and they only think about that's the purpose line, and that's what I was just saying. The challenge, like, how can you? It's not easy to break that in a person.
No, I totally understand.
That person to see that it's like something have to happen to them to be like, oh shoot, you know what? I think I need to change. Or sometimes it depends on their friends too, because when they have like a
environment is
circle,
everything.
oh my goodness, that little circle that they have, and I always tell people, you got to look at your friends. If you see your friends as not ambition or not trying to do anything with themselves or not trying to grow, what that makes you. I don't care if you consider yourself as a leader in the group, in the pack. If you're the leader, don't you think you should have a better vision than this? Like trying to teach the others, like, listen, all right, I've been in my corporate world for 30 years or whatever the case might be. There's other things you could do to help the community or to have extra streams of income. Sometimes people are thinking that, oh, I don't need to do other streams of income because my company where I work at, it's enough. That's my money. This is what I bring home every 2 weeks or every week or whatever the case might be. And I'll be like, yeah, I get it. But what happened when things started to change and your streams of income can't afford it? And
people don't like change.
Well, that's the thing. I'm trying to break that. And I get what you're saying. It's like, I think that's what kind of bothers me a lot, when people doesn't like the change. And I'm trying to make them understand, like, it's okay to get out of that little box. It's okay to break that fear. Like, okay, or maybe,
excuse me.
Like for me, I ask someone, your passion. What do you like to do every day? And they would tell me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but sometimes God give you that as a gift. That passion that you do every day, that's that gift for you to make the money. But you're doing it for free. And you don't see it like there's money involved into that. I'm like, how do you think other people become successful? How do you think other people like leave their 9 to 5 to get where they need to be at? Because they see the passion. It's like, if I love to do like what we're doing right now, podcasting, and we do it every single day, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just doing it for fun. Yeah, but you're bringing out message to other people out there, to the world. So yes, it might seems like it's doing it for fun, but at the same token, you can make money out of this. It's like, where do you see the potential? Where do you see where you're investing your money into? Because if you're investing your money into something, there's a way for you to get the money back. So those are the things that I'm trying to tell people, that the things that you like to do the most, that's where your money is at. That's where you could have extra streams of income. You could still work your 9 to 5. I'm not telling you to quit your 9 to 5, but do other things as well. So when something happened to this 9 to 5, you have another streams of income that helping you to get the situation or whatever problems that you have in the world. Instead of you having anxiety, depression, now you feel like you want to commit suicide because you feel like there's no more money. And it's like, now you got to run around and trying to look for a job. And it's, especially if they can't hire you, or they feel like you're too overqualified, or whatever excuses that the managers of the society want to bring out there for, the newcomers that coming into the society, into this world. So to me, I feel like trying to find something that you can do. You don't have to charge people a lot of money, but just build yourself up. And once you start getting well known, then you could increase your money or whatever the situation for you to be like, yeah, now everybody know me. Now I could increase it to that amount. And people will still pay for it because they see what you bring to the table, versus you doing stuff for free. And now you got a whole pack of people coming to your house, and then now there's like, gimme, 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 gimme. And then now it's just like, now you're giving so much of your soul. So now you're sitting home and you're just so drenched, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't take it anymore. Like, it's like I'm doing so much for everyone. I'm a people pleaser. And it's like nobody is not doing nothing back in return because people are so accustomed of you giving stuff for free. So it's just like, what can I do to stop this and be like, all right, I'm going to charge you this amount of money, because if you went somewhere else, you would have had to pay for that. So just because we're friends or we're families or whatever the case might be, you could pay me too. Yeah. So those are the things that I'm trying to help certain people out there in the society. I don't even know how we got into that topic.
No, it's all good. We were talking about purpose and personal development. I think there's a lot of layers to people understanding their why. And I can say that I was not somebody that knew my purpose. Like, I have been around a lot of people early on in life that they were very passionate about what they're passionate about: photography, music, dance, very early on in life. And I never had that. Like, I never had a specific thing that I was like, this is my thing and I'm gonna do it for the rest of my life. I quit everything before I joined the Air Force. Everything you can think of. I've always been good at sports: gymnastics, swimming, roller skating, anything you can think of. I quit though. And I was always asked to advance, and I just didn't have the confidence to proceed forward, and I didn't believe in myself to go forward. I also come from a Caribbean household where tough love is the love. So it was like shaking their finger at me, not like the hug that I needed, you know, at the time. So for me to find my purpose, I found my purpose through pain. And I tell people that I work with or people that I love and care for just a message to share that pain without purpose can feel like punishment. You have to have a purpose to your pain. Like, I was going through a divorce. I knew that I was transitioning out of essentially what I felt like was my identity at the time, and that pain is what caused me to change. You get what I'm saying? Like, that is the pain that made me change the course to really start asking myself, like, what am I here for? Like, what is my purpose? Because I felt purpose in the Air Force. I felt like I was being purposeful. I was helping people. I was helping people heal. And I am a healer. I know that's what I'm here to do. I just never really understood the vessel or the modem I was supposed to use. And I've always been good at this, but I've always gotten in trouble for this too. So I was very confused on how to use this instrument that I've been given that, yes, it helps people heal, but it also sometimes I be hurting people. Like, I didn't know how to really get a hold of my gift. So that pain of the divorce, that pain of being pushed out of the military, like, that really made me ask myself, when I leave this earth, how do I want to be remembered? And that's how I ended up transitioning into like what I really feel like is my purpose. So I feel like it's just asking the right questions to yourself. People need to be more curious about themselves.
What led you to the Air Force?
I just wanted to get out of my home city. I would have been in trouble if I would have stayed there. So I grew up in Connecticut, in Waterbury.
Oh.
I come from divorced parents though.
Okay.
My mom's a Chinese Jamaican and my dad's Jamaican. That's why my last name is Chung. I have my mom's last name. And when they got divorced, my dad spent a lot of time in New York. So I essentially spent some of my time in Connecticut, and then some of my time in New York, and then some of my time in Jamaica in the summers. So that's, when people ask me like where I'm from, I feel like those three places are the places that shape my personality the most. So I have I also grew up in a Puerto Rican household, so that's where the Spanish background comes from.
Crazy.
My madrina is Puerto Rican. I have 3 godmothers, and one is the mother, and then her 2 daughters, and I just got integrated into that family, and that's where I found a lot of myself. Like, growing up in that household is what taught me a lot about faith, really. Like, they are the ones that exposed me to faith, and my faith is a very large part of my purpose. Like, Jesus was a healer. I know that Jesus is a part of me, and I want to help also be that person in the world.
Wow, that is Chinese and Jamaican. This is interesting.
I speak Spanish, right?
You speak like fluent Spanish, or you just
Todavía estoy aprendiendo, pero creo que está bien.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, okay.
I'm trying my best.
She's trying her best, y'all. Look at her. Bueno. Oh, my goodness. So, brand and messaging.
Mm-hmm.
What motivated you to create your personal brand?
What motivated me to create my personal brand? I have always saw myself as a flower, and we're gonna get there. And I think all humans are flowers, and we all require very similar things: water, sunlight, a good environment to grow. And with that thought, I created Homegrown Fitness. That was my first personal brand, which was the personal training brand. So essentially, I wanted to help people root themselves so that they could rise, just like a flower does. And the logo was a sunflower at the time. So that was the first time that I actually felt like, okay, I am my brand. Like, this is what I'm representing, but I never wanted to be the face of it. I always wanted my clients to be the face of it. So I was very big on like putting everybody else at the forefront, making sure that I got these transformations and not really showing myself, because I never wanted my brand to be, I don't want to be an influencer. I don't care about being an influencer. I know that I have influence, but I care more about my impact. Impact is more long-standing than influence is to me.
Wow.
So I never wanted to be the forefront of the brand, because I didn't want that if I was to step back, that other people, you know, like a personal brand is personal. People are attached to us. So I don't want to walk away and then people feel like there's something missing, which, I mean, that's the fact of the matter, but I've always referenced that I want to be like a Target or Walmart. I don't know who owns Target and Walmart, but I know I go there when I need something. So that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be like a hub of healing that people knew to come to regardless of who was the face behind it. So that's how I started.
At what age did you start?
I would say this is during the military, so I was probably like 21, 22.
And what advice would you give to others on trying to balance multiple passions and careers?
I don't think there's any such thing as balance. I think that you need to be curious about yourself, and you need to ask proper questions. What do I like? What am I good at? What are my weaknesses? You really need to know yourself. And by knowing yourself, you will be able to try different things and then see which ones make the most sense to you, and then pick that specific thing to dedicate to see how long you can run it and what you can learn. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I did lashes. I tried that, it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta just dabble in things and then narrow it down and then decide, like, this is what I'm really gonna give a go at. And I would just say, like, be curious about yourself.
So how do you balance being a speaker, coach, fitness, and adventurous? Like, just doing a lot of different.
I don't balance.
You don't balance?
No, I don't think there's a balance. I think that I respect my seasons. So I'm now in the season of being a speaker and making sure that I'm honing in on my skills as a podcaster and really spreading my message and using this instrument. But I just came out of a season of being an adventurer. Like, I lived in Medellin for 6 months. Before that, I lived in Mexico for 6 months.
So which one do you like the most?
I love Medellin so much.
I bet you do.
That is my home. I love Colombia so much. I love
food?
Colombia. I don't like their food at all, actually. I love the people.
Oh, you love the people, so they're very nice over there.
They're so kind. They are so welcoming. Medellin was the first place that I loved the way that I was able to love myself in that place. Does that make sense? And I don't think that I ever afforded myself the opportunity to love myself in that way. And I'm not saying that I did it right all the time. Like, I was smoking every day. Like, I was just doing whatever I wanted, but I never got an opportunity to do whatever I wanted. Like, anything I wanted to do. If I wanted to go to a botanical garden on a Tuesday, I was going. If I wanted to sit at home and, do whatever, like, it really allowed me to be like, what do I want? I don't think I ever had that option in my adult life. Mind you, I'm coming out of a corporation that decided everything for me. I couldn't even decide my own doctor. So that was new.
Hold on, they design your own doctors as well?
You get assigned everything.
Really?
Yeah. There's no, like, I don't like this person, I want a new one. It's, you get what you get.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought that you guys could choose your own physicians.
Whoever's available is who you get.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that was my first time in my life, really. Like, moving abroad was my first time being able to have options for what it felt like for me, Like, I never really experienced, like, picking my own physician and picking where I wanted to get dental work at or picking my own therapist. Like, I never really had that opportunity until I got out. I mean, I've always, me and my therapist have a really good relationship.
Okay.
I've been with her for like 5-6 years.
Okay.
And I did pay for her outside of the military, though. Like, if I was to get assigned somebody in the military, I never felt comfortable talking to them. So I paid for somebody outside to say what I wanted to say.
Makes sense. I get it.
So I don't really, I just respect my seasons. Like, I know that there's a season for rest. I know that there's a season for grind and work. I know that there's a season for play and pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And I just respect those seasons. And I feel like to be successful in anything, you have to respect the seasons, because if you try to balance everything, you may be able to do it, but I feel like it's going to take you longer. Like, instead of you just like tunnel vision, like, let me be here, let me be where my feet are planted, enjoy this season, and then when the next thing calls me to that, I'm going to be there in that moment as well. So that's the way that I've done it. I've just respected where I'm at and what God is trying to show me in that moment, regardless of where I think I should be or what I should be doing.
Right now, in this moment, where the God is guiding you to do right now?
Surrender and trust. Trust that my gifts will make way for me, and trust that the provision and the protection that he's shown me, that he's always provided to me, will not leave me, regardless of the unknown that I feel like I'm encountering. And to really look at myself closely in all aspects of weakness, strength, how I communicate, relationship, and hone in on what I'm honing in on and ask him what I need to ask him. Like, how can I do this better? How can I love better? How can I be a better person to strangers, to friends? How can I be a better daughter? Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to be better in all aspects and asking him to show me the way on how to do it, because I never been here before. You ain't never been here before.
True.
The best thing I can do is ask the person that made me, because you already know what I'm about to do. So just help me out a little bit. So I don't really go too off course, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah.
So right now, as we're all, because like you said, by you being we're both a podcaster, and you do development, growth, a speaker, and you do fitness. Do you still do the fitness training?
Not so much. So when I decided to move to Mexico, I transitioned, and I feel like everybody was transitioning out of that big thing that shut down the world and wanting to be more in person. And I understood that. So I essentially told my people, like, listen, I'm going to personal train online. If you want to rock with that, you can rock with that. But if not, I can transition you to somebody else. So I gave away some people, and then some people stayed with me, and I used an app. And then as people were seeking more like in-person connection, and as I was respecting my season of being abroad, I transitioned into life coaching. And I realized that I was already facilitating life coaching sessions through personal training. Like, personal training is very personal. Like, people are going through physical things that they don't even know the root of it is emotional. So I was already catering to that and servicing that in my personal training sessions. And I just decided, why not just hit it at the root? So I transitioned from personal training into life coaching, and then I started to niche down on anxiety and personal growth, because those are the main things that I've struggled with and I've mastered. So why not help others?
Wow.
So,
Do
yeah.
you have any book out there for anyone?
I don't have a book, but I got 2 ebooks on the way, and I have 2 guides. One's an overcoming overthinking, because overthinking is my favorite sport. And that muscle is strong.
So
Let me tell you, that muscle is strong. We've worked it out a lot.
I bet you do, 'cause you look broad over here. I was like,
Thanks.
boy, listen, guys, you
Thank
better
you.
be careful.
You got to take care of your vessel, take care of your temple. But overcoming overthinking, because, man, the muscle is strong, and I stress myself so much living through the same thing twice. The first time was in my head, and then the second time was creating it in reality. So that muscle is strong, and I want to help people to understand that thinking is important. We should have critical thinking skills, but overthinking is
That's another level.
Stressful.
But that too. But sometimes that overthinking is kind of hard to downsize it, to be like, all right, because sometimes whatever your mind is telling you right there in the moment, that's what you need to work on. Because like, if you're overthinking a lot of things, it's just because for example, relationships. I don't even know why I'm bringing that up, but sometimes when you're in a relationship, and then whatever your mate is doing, and then you're kind of overthinking, like, is he or she is there? Because even though they say they're at this place, is it accurate? Is it true? Why, when I called, they didn't answer their phone? That's mean it must be cheating. Oh my gosh, is this that? It's like you're doing all of that, and you could just have a decent conversation with that person and be like, let me ask you a question. Did you go X, Y, and Z? Are you cheating? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Versus like, your brain is telling you all these kind of crazy things on top of your head, like, oh yeah, I think that person's cheating. Oh, I think this person's doing that. Oh, I think this person's doing this. And then you just created this whole chaos. So now when the person comes to you in person, face to face, instead of you having a decent conversation, you already walking with your lip poked up, and it is like you're overthinking a lot. You're like, yeah, I know you cheated on me and this and that. You're like,
well, overthinking is creating fake scenarios
and
most
then
of the time.
You're thinking like, well, damn, like, what did I do wrong? And then now whatever you project on that person, guess what? Now, just because you're saying it so much, now you make that person want to go out there and cheat and do other things, because you kind of created this narrative towards that person. Is like, now, even the person may not even think about cheating, but just because you put it so much into that person's head, now they'll be like, well, well, bump it. I might as well just cheat, because if you said it already, even
But
if
that's how you live it twice.
So now I'll be like, well, okay, let me just go ahead and do what I got to go do. But I'm not telling you guys to do that. But I'm just saying, like, let's clear that up in the air. But I'm just saying that's what sometimes people kind of think a lot of different crazy. I have women be talking to me about certain things and they overthink a lot of stuff. And I'll be like, darn.
As do most of us.
I was like, what are we talking in here? And then sometimes I don't like when certain females or men's, when they're talking to me about a certain problem, and then they kind of create like they will say, oh my gosh, so and so and doing this, so and so and doing that, and then they want you to believe the story that they're giving. So now you got to feed off of that energy. Be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe you are right, and this and that. You be like, no, calm down. It's not that serious. Let's go back and see where that came from, and then now you got to narrow the little one sheet, statement number one, how did that happen? Statement number two, where did that came from? Statement number three, okay, let's add them up together, and it'd be like, no, this is not what's going on, and blah 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 blah. So to me, I feel like I just want to. I know, because you didn't ask no question about myself, but I just wanted to figure out certain things of how to help a lot of. Right now in this society, a lot of people's going through problems with relationships. I have a lot of women that come to me about man problems. I have women come to me trying to figure out.
What do you feel like is the root issue with that, though?
With the man problem?
Anything in relationships. Because I have my own opinion.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So,
what do you think the chaos is, if you could just sum it up to like a thing? What do you think that the chaos is?
It's a narcissist that I get a lot from when women's come.
You think so?
Yeah, narcissists and the cheating.
On both sides. Well, men and women.
Well, women, I don't think there's a lot of women has a narcissist into their system, but I know man has that a lot. But I get more women talking to me with the way how the man treat them. Sometimes the man's it's not around, they're cheating. I get stories like man doesn't want to provide in the household. They feel like they're giving it to someone else.
So you think that is the root cause of the chaos and most of the reason why
I think it's communication.
There's not cohesiveness in relationships?
I think it's communication.
You think it's communication?
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes when we're, like if I have a mate, like my boyfriend, if I'm talking to my boyfriend, right? If he doesn't listen to the words that's coming out of my mouth and is like, it's all about me. And it's just like, to me, I feel like that's where the clash is at. I don't care about the intimacy. I know people are trying to use like the sex games. Oh yeah, if we're having sex all the time and this and that, that's supposed to cure the whatever the situation. To me, I feel like it's not the sex for me, and I'm gonna stand on that because I have a lot of debate with people with this sex story, and I'm gonna say right now I'm just tired of the sex. It's not the sex to me. I feel like it's the communication, because I feel like that part right there, that puzzle, that's where a lot of people is lack of, is the communication. Because sometimes I could be dating you, right, and you could be very firm or whatever, and I might have that fear, and I'm like, how can I communicate to this individual to make that person understand where I'm coming from? And sometimes that's where a lot of people is lack of in that situation, because sometimes people doesn't want to listen. It's just like if you're talking to me and I could just hear one little word that comes out of your mouth, and then I'm just like, oh, now I could just hear a spasm, and I'm like, yeah, she said this, shh, let me throw a fireball in this one. It's just like, are you listening? Sometimes you have to listen to what the person is saying, and then once I'm done speaking, then I'll shut up, then you speak, and then now we can figure it out. How can we work together to compromise the situation? And if we're not compatible, then it is what it is. Now, I could just move on, especially when you're not married. So I don't, that boyfriend and girlfriends, and to me, I feel like, okay, we're not married. We're still courting. We're trying to understand each other. We're trying to learn each other. Like, let's try to figure out who we really are deep down inside.
That's what I feel like the root issue is. I don't think nobody knows themselves.
Because there's a mask. Everybody comes in with a mask. When you first meet someone, you're not going to show them the real you. It's like you trying to.
I'm not going to hold you. I'm bringing it so you can figure it out if you like it or not. Quick.
Well, the reason why you're doing that because of the situation of your past. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel like I just know myself and I want to know I like me.
But do you do that? No, let's go back to the root. When you first had a boyfriend, right? Were you like that? Did you? Okay, so because you had to go through so many stages of relationship for you to be like, you know what? Moving forward, next guy come into my life, I'm gonna bring everything on the table, and if he doesn't like what he sees, it is what it is. I don't care, because I'm not gonna change for you. And that's where a lot of women's go through. It's like, we're changing for a man.
No, but I didn't change for a man.
Never.
No. For a man?
For a man.
Absolutely not. I have never changed for a man. I got divorced, and that pain made me change for myself. I've been in relationships, and I've gone through some rough relationships with wicked men, man. Men can be wicked. I think women can be wicked too. True. But I have never said I need to do something to appease this particular person, like in that way. Like, I've always said I need to know myself better to know if there's cohesiveness. Like, what is the point of me changing for this person? It's going to be temporary, because if you're changing for someone else, that is not going to be a permanent change. People have to change for themselves to actually see real change in their life.
See, well, that's what most women, they change for their man because they feel like, oh,
that's what
no.
I think. I think that more women, I think more men need to know themselves, and that's why those three guides. Like, I was on my phone because I really like to give people real life practices, right? And with the overthinking guide, I think people, back to the overthinking thing, I think half of the reason people overthink is because they're just not giving their body and their brain the nutrients that they need. Move your body. Eat good things. If you fill your vessel with trash, you become a dumpster. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. You stressed out, you want to punch people in the face, it's because you're hungry. And then you go eat Popeyes, and then you feel like shit. Like, there are just certain things. So catering, there's levels to this, right? You got to cater to the physical, you got to cater to the mental, you cater to the emotional, and you cater to the spiritual. So real life practices of understanding, like, what are my food choices? What are difficult food choices for me? Do I go to sugar when I feel lonely? Do I choose Popeyes when this person is not picking up the phone and I feel stressed? Like, you have to understand why you make certain choices about yourself and why it's making you overthink, right? And then my other guide, it's a de-stress guide, and that is understanding, it's a self-assessment, which I'm gonna give out for free. I want that to just be a gift to everyone, for people to really get to know themselves as to how they are responding naturally. Like, our responses obviously were established at a young age, especially our stress responses. So the stress guide is essentially for you to give yourself an assessment as to, like, why am I responding to the things in the way that I'm responding to them? What are my triggers? And these are things that you can do without therapy. I think a lot of people think that they need a facilitator or they need someone to come in to ask them these particular questions. So that's why I created the guide. But I think if you really understand about yourself, how do I respond to stress? What is difficult for me in relationships? What is difficult for me to deal on my own emotion-wise, and how it dictates your choices, then you'll choose better relationships, and then we won't have all this chaos with relationships. If people just knew themselves, if they knew their authentic self and how to love themselves loudly, then they would pick other people that would do the same. Because that mask, that veil, whatever you're trying to hide from or whatever, all that likability, people-pleasing stuff is also trauma responses. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Why are you the way that you are? How did you get there? What was the first time that you felt this certain feeling of betrayal, of jealousy? If you can understand that, then you can start to identify it in different areas for yourself and either decide, when something brings that on, I'm not gonna integrate myself with that, or I'm gonna figure out how to do better and manage that emotion. I don't think any emotions are bad. It's how you manage it and how you express it that can get a little wild.
So your thinking is
I think people don't know themselves.
Well, that's the part. That's why the healing meditation comes into the factor. But when you're saying that, I think it's more man who has those type of issues, because it's like,
really,
because I feel like there's a lot of men doesn't want to work on themselves because
I think it's women.
You think so?
Bro,
because I feel like there's a lot of men out there.
Women be in denial about niggas. Women be in denial about themselves. Women be in denial when the truth is really sat in front of them. How many times have you seen a woman get told the truth and they still don't believe the truth? Women do not like to face things. Men's
too now. There's a lot of men doesn't want to hear that either. Especially there's a lot of men trying to use this excuses as like, oh, family. Oh, the way I grew up. Oh, I don't want to change because of my mother. It's always
Yeah, the way it gets expressed is different on both sides, but it exists on both sides.
So it's
sure.
like, and then when you're trying to express to a man, be like, listen, I feel like if you could, oh, don't tell me this and that, they start getting around, just like women's too, like you said. But I feel like for a man, it's a little bit harder for them to, it's like for you to grasp these men to come sit on your platform to be like, hey, let's work this on together. Let's do a meditation. Let's do this. Women's, you could kind of communicate, try and do groupies and, give them little gifts and stuff like that. They'll all come and listen to you. But for a man, you got to have some good, like some good games, some spit games for them to come to be like, let's work this out together. Because whatever issue you have, there's other men out there with the same situation. You're not the only one. And stop using these excuses like, oh, the way I grew up or the way my mother raised me and this and that. Yes, I get it. But you can't project that like every woman out there is the same. Because most men, they look at how the way the mother treat them and they treat that instead of them trying to face their mother and be like, listen, mom, I didn't like the way you did this to me. And this is the reason why I'm the man that I am right now. I forgive you, but I'm going to change. So instead of them doing that, every woman that they're dating, they treat these individual like shit because the way their mother treated them. So now they say, oh, because my mama did this to me, so I'm going to treat you like this. Or I'm going to abuse you mentally, physically, and emotionally because I was hurt, I was neglected, I was this and I was that. And now, since I was this person, I'm going to project that on you. And then now the woman has to deal with, especially if the woman's in love with that man. So now that woman has to project all that anger, the issue, the fear, the anxiety, the depression, all is that onto them because they want to make sure their man, the man that they love, okay. And then now, once that man did all of that projecting, doing all of this and treating the woman like crap and doing all of this other situation, and guess what happened? Now he's healed because now you pour all the goodness into this man, trying to make them feel good. And then now years down the line, especially if you're still in a relationship, years down the line, now he becomes good. Now he looks at you, oh my gosh, you're so weird. You're this. Oh, I don't want to be with you no more in this relationship. And then you're like, hold on now. I helped you to get where you need to be at. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be the person that you are right now. So now all the negativities dump into that woman, because that's what you might say that woman might go through a lot. Now that projected onto that woman, so the woman had to deal with all that shenanigan, and then now when the man decided to up and leave, now this woman have to go and trying to get themselves healed, or they might say fuck it, hate the world, and sometimes they just want to.
No, yeah. It definitely. I equally have homeboys that have the same story when it comes to women though. So it's definitely happening on both sides. Okay. And I am not saying that I'm here to heal the world, but I do feel like there are two quite simple solutions. And this is just my own opinion. Again, I'm not saying that I'm trying to bring this into the world. I want to help people that want to be helped. But in a sense, to what you were speaking about and to what I was saying, I feel like two things can happen. If men knew themselves better, women would fall in line.
If you guys want to come and participate at this event that I'm having in February 1st at Cooper Hawk, if you're right here in Florida, she will be attending, I hope. I pray. I'm going to talk to her after the camera, so don't worry about it. I'm going to let you guys know soon. So it's going to be a group of women, so we all could sit down and talk and have fun and, have great games and, just so everybody could feel every woman inside the in the Cooper Hawk. It's going to be at Cooper Hawk, Candeenoo Beach. If you want to know the information, I will have it on my Instagram. I will have it on YouTube. Feel free. You could go, and I will have an Eventbrite. Yeah. So if you are interested, you can go ahead and sign up, and I can't wait to see you guys there. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming into my platform.
Of course.
You're good. I like you.
I appreciate it.
So if you want anybody to find out where you linking at, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Candeenoo, Candeenoo. I also am restructuring my website, but it is homegrown without the O in the grown, so HOMEGRWN wellness.com. You can find all of my ebooks, my guides, my coaching, and I also have a free community, and I'm building a school community for those that, whether the podcast is your entryway or the Spiritpreneurs WhatsApp community is your entryway and you want to get deeper with yourself, you want to talk with a guide that can help you get deeper with yourself, I'm going to offer the academy to be a place that you can go through modules and really ask yourself more proper questions so you can better know your identity and be the person that you're supposed to be. So I really appreciate being part of this journey with you. Mind you, this is our first encounter together.
Really?
Like, first encounter together. So I said a lot in a short amount of time, but I really do appreciate you being able to do what you're doing in Servitude and helping other people love themselves loudly, boldly, authentically, and I'm excited to be part of the journey and see what we can do together.
Thank you.
Of course.
So, all right, guys, I'm going to see you guys next week. You enjoy. Have a wonderful day at Love Yourself Loudly. Bye.
Typical millennial. Goodbye.